fact, when you mention the naval blockade, after President Trump's statements, Iran's president also came to the fore and said the world should say goodbye to, oil barrel prices of $4 to $5, because if everything stops, even the ships that Iran was allowing, the world will face an economic crisis. Now, we have another statement coming in from the US President Donald Trump, where he has sharply criticized Pope Leo XV, telling the pontiff to get his act together, following the Pope's repeated anti-war remarks on the conflict with Iran. In a Truth Social post, President Trump wrote, and I quote here, "Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. Leo should get his act together as Pope, use common sense, stop catering to the radical left and focus on being a great Pope, not a politician." Now, Trump's comments come after Pope Leo XV condemned the president's threats, I beg your pardon, 14th, the president's threats against Iran, described the idea of destroying an entire civilization as truly unacceptable, and repeatedly called for peace, ceasefires and dialogue instead of military escalation. Let's in fact take a look at that statement that we have from Trump.
I don't think he's doing a very good job. He likes crime, I guess. He hit us. Think of it. He's worried about fear. What about the fear when the ministers and the priests and all of those great people that were arrested during COVID, and in many cases they're outside 10 feet apart and they were arrested. So we don't like it. We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world.
Let me also rope in Mr. Srivastav into this discussion. Mr. Srivastav, analysts and observers everywhere usually do not they give a lot of value to what Trump says on a day-to-day basis. However, I want to get your observations regarding this particular statement, because I want to understand, can Trump really speak against the Pope? Doesn't he think that he will get a lot of backlash? A lot of MAGA supporters are Christians, and when this entire war had started, he was in fact portraying himself. He was praying to God. There were images released that he is doing this for all of Christianity, to move that religion forward, and this is in contrast to what Trump's supporters actually believe in. Can he really go and badmouth the Pope?
I think at this point of time, what is the need of the hour is the dialogue among civilizations. The different civilizations must be having a dialogue with each other, and that is what Abraham Accords was all about. And Abraham Accords' real philosophy and the real goal was to have a dialogue among civilizations. And that dialogue among civilization, if it discontinues and if it does not go ahead, then I believe that it will create a further chaos in the whole world. And I believe that President Trump's remarks about Pope and the kind of appeal he is making for such kind of a wisdom to prevail, I think that should be avoided. And if leaders, those who are on executive top position, decision makers, if they give due respect to the various suggestions given by the leaders of the civilizations, I think that will be a good idea to pursue. And I believe that it is unfortunate to see this kind of spat and this kind of exchanges between Pope and President Trump. But if you go into the history of the world, Western world, there has been many of such instances where the Pope and the King, then King, and now the democratic leader, obviously they have had a tense relationship. That is a history part of it. But certainly at this point of time, dialogue among civilization is the need of the hour. And if dialogue among the civilization can be pursued, that will be nothing good as that. And even President Trump, when he introduced this Abrahamic Accords, there also the sense was that Christians, Muslims, and Jews will have a dialogue together. So I believe that that kind of a sentiment must be kept into the center of it. And if the Christian civilization and the religious leader of the Christian world says something, I think that should be given the due attention. And I believe that again, I would say it's unfortunate to see such remarks from President and the kind of exchanges Pope and President of the United States of America have had yesterday.
Absolutely, Mr.